There's so many, and I like to think of them as like transitions in life. So whether it's be planning for your kids' college education, thinking about retirement, planning for the unexpected, whether it's a death or a disability, planning for career changes, whether planned or unplanned. There's so many life events that come along that we can some anticipate and some that are unanticipated, but they both need planning.
Okay, so I get to have chef's choice here. This is nice. If you don't mind, let's pick the uncertainty, because I think that's the one that really, it's, well, we're going to plan for this. We have this very, methodical process for achieving this goal, and that's all logic and prudence and all that discipline that's required, but the uncertainty. So how about planning for the unexpected? What do you think about emergency funds and how to be prepared for what may come that people can't see before it happens?
Yeah, and people don't like to think along these realms, because it's not fun things to think about. Usually when you're tapping into that emergency fund, something bad happened. And we don't necessarily like to think about death or losing our loved ones or becoming disabled, but it's so important. But like starting with emergency funds, I really think that you need to understand what does it take to run your house on a day-to-day basis. So setting aside 3 to 6 months of living expenses, and that can be overwhelming at first. So how do we start to build up that fund? Thinking about, okay, so if we don't have that, where could we tap into cash if something happened? Maybe it's a home equity line or some other reserve, but really trying to think through those pieces, and don't get discouraged because you can't get to that 3 months or 6 months. Start with a month, start with 1 week and keep building that up. But that's one of the first foundations to put in place.
That's good. And for those people who have already got an emergency fund built up, sometimes people will have a fair amount of cash built up because they haven't been sure what to do and they've been saving, and then they go, well, I want to put this to work. I don't know if you've had this experience. I've had to tell people, no, we're not investing it.
Yes.
And then they poke their lips out and go, what do you mean we're not investing it? I want to invest. I heard you the first time. No, because that needs to be an emergency fund.
Yeah. It's not exciting, because it's not earning big returns, but it's the safety piece, and it does need that reminder why it's so important.
I think that's where people need to be, and this is our job, right, as CFPs, is remind people that each pot of money has a purpose, right? Yeah. And that the cash is not supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to be boring. Yeah. It's supposed to just sit there, and if it makes a little bit, so be it, but that's not really its main goal.
Exactly. I think that's a great way to think about it. It's boring because nothing bad is happening. And so if we can get their head around that we don't want to necessarily have to do anything with this,